With your leave, I rise to update the country on a number of critical matters, including the reading of a statement with respect to the Development Bank. But before I get into that, Madam Speaker, allow me to highlight that this week is Pediatric Week, and I want to thank all those who work at the pediatric ward at JNF, Dr. Henry, who is the lead doctor there, specialist, pediatrician, and also Sister Thomas, who is the nurse in charge, and her staff. I want to thank the servers, the cleaners, the maintenance people, even the teacher who is there at times who teach the students who are at the hospital. I want to thank all of them for their tremendous work in making sure that our children are taken care of. As a matter of fact, we have been doing a tremendous job at that ward. We have seen excellent results. And I want to add, Madam Deputy Speaker, that as a result of our fund for sick children, children who in the past many would die, that they are benefiting and that they are living. And so I want to say a number of them would have had significant surgical interventions, especially of the cardiovascular system, aka heart surgeries or heart operation, and their lives have been saved. As I said when I came in, that as the Minister of Health, I used to see children die because the parents had no money. And sometimes you had charitable organizations trying to help, but there were many obstacles and difficulties in raising the money. And what was disheartening, Madam Deputy Speaker, is to see parents sending around GoFundMe and sponsor sheets, doing a cook by the side, trying to raise money to save that child's life. And as a result of that, we have advanced past that. I will still encourage people to raise money where they can, because that can add to help to create a larger resource to help our children. But it was determined that no child in this federation should die because their parents don't have money. And guess who children used to die, Madam Speaker? Those who are the poorest among us. So this measure has really helped significantly the children of those who have the least financial resources among us, and therefore they can expect that their child will be taken care of. And these are children who necessarily have to travel to be taken care of with interventions that, if not done, they would die. And so as a practicing medical doctor, and would have seen children from a plethora of families, or the spectrum of families, and recognizing those from the poor families are those who normally would die, we decide, and I decided, that they should not die. And so many of them are alive today. And so I really want to bring attention to Pediatric Week and to say to our parents to continue to endeavor to be good parents, and also to thank fundamentally at this time those who are in the vineyard of making sure that pediatric care in St. Kitts and Nevis is among the best within the region. And so I want to really highlight that, Madam Deputy Speaker. I also want to highlight, Madam Speaker, that for the first time in our federation, we are going to see a transplant program. I have been speaking about it for a long time. A lot of our young people are dying from kidney disease, renal disease, end-stage renal disease we call it, where they end up on dialysis. We have invested heavily in the dialysis unit, Madam Deputy Speaker. For example, I want to thank Mr. Leo Estridge and his wonderful team from Canada, who made a contribution of dialysis machines here in St. Kitts and Nevis. It's the most machines we have ever had, Madam Speaker. When I go to the dialysis unit, machines working, and we have machines backup after backup after backup. And even though people in the frivolous ways try to undermine the program, we have seen the benefit of having those machines and the training from Mr. Leo Estridge's team from Canada. Of course, an expat. Well, of course, he is a national who lives overseas, rather, and he has done tremendously well partnering with us here in St. Kitts and Nevis. And again, I want to say, the other thing on the dialysis unit, we have solved a long-standing water problem. Water is fundamental when it comes to dialysis. If the water is not sufficient or it's contaminated, it doesn't have the right pH and minerals and so forth, it's a complicated process. However, I want to thank Mrs. Lindsay Maynard, who is the person who was leading that, and she brought in the professionals who have resolved a significant problem. But it cannot stop there, Madam Speaker. And that is why I said from the beginning that I was going to lead the establishment of the first transplant program here in St. Kitts and Nevis. First in St. Kitts and Nevis. And therefore, because there are too many young people under the age of 40, and we are making sure that those persons have access to transplant. And we are going to launch that program this week. We are aiming for Thursday. And we are going to put out there, we're going to bring the necessary legislation even, because we are going to really deal with transplantation, not only from a local level in terms of the national, but as the spokesman for healthcare at the CARICOM level, I'm going to introduce the concept of a regional transplant program and organ harvesting where necessary, so that people around the region can get into the culture of contributing organs to save lives. That, I know, is revolutionary, but it is possible. But I'm going to start here in St. Kitts and Nevis by setting the example, by establishing our first renal transplant program. I want to thank those at the dialysis unit. I want to thank the nephrologists who are there, the new nurse manager who is there as well, all the nurses who are there. I want to thank also Dr. Hakim, who works in the UK, at the Imperial College UK, and also at Cleveland Clinic UK, specifically London, who is leading on this. And so we spent all these months putting this together. We have brought back the necessary specialists. I want to thank Dr. Ward with Dr. Wilkin as senior anesthesiologist. We also have a Cuban professional who is an anesthesiologist. We also now have brought in an anesthesiologist, a nurse specialized in anesthesiology, so that we can have the full complement, and our surgeons at JNF as well. So we have put all of the human resources that are necessary to make sure that we can achieve our renal transplant program. But I said to our people, let us seek to live as healthy as possible by exercising, eating well, watching your weight, making sure that you control your blood pressure, your blood sugar, so that you would not end up with end-stage renal disease and need a transplant. However, we are making sure that those who are suffering, that we are here to make sure that the program is put in place. And I'm very, very excited about this, Madam Deputy Speaker. I also want to touch on quickly the cleanup program that the Ministry of Health. I want to thank Ras Eli. Ras Eli came to see me one day, and he said, PM, he called me Prince. He said, Prince, I see that, we need some cleaning up. I've been moving around. And I said, what do you notice, Ras Eli? He said, look, we can do some cleanup in the area. So I said, I'm going to pay closer attention to what he was saying. And I did recognize that some more work needed to be done. And then when we got this heavy rainfall just recently, St. Kitts is a fertile place. The grass sprang up. Everything just came back to life. And therefore, as was mentioned by the Minister of Environment, Senator Dr. Joy Clark, that we have now put together a team from different ministries to deal with the cleanup of St. Kitts. And that, I said, we can call it Operation whatever we want. Operation Cleanup, Operation Clean State, Operation Christmas Cleanse. But I also said to her that it has to go beyond Christmas now. So we are putting a unit together that will surveil St. Kitts and Nevis, the guts, the beaches, the sides, St. Kitts specifically in the situation, to make sure that we are clean. And that unit will be responsible for keeping St. Kitts clean. So health, elevate, parks and beaches, the STEP program, which is the other one? Urban development. All solid waste. All will come together to make sure, and constituency empowerment, come together to make sure that St. Kitts is clean. And I know Nevis definitely must be doing their part as well. So I want to say to Rasilai that I have heard you, and we have launched this program to make sure that we keep St. Kitts clean. Madam Speaker, I just wanted to do that. I will just now read a statement with respect to the Development Bank. And it goes, Madam Speaker, I address you today with a sense of duty and transparency, as it is my responsibility to keep you informed about matters of national importance. In recent weeks, our beloved country has faced revelations that demand our attention and, more importantly, our commitment to justice and accountability. I therefore must inform you that thank you very much, Leader of Government Business. So I'll start it again so it can be captured properly, Madam Speaker. Fellow citizens of St. Kitts and Nevis, I address you today with a sense of duty and transparency, as it is my responsibility to keep you informed about matters of national importance. In recent weeks, our beloved country has faced revelations that demand our attention and, more importantly, our commitment to justice and accountability. I therefore must inform you that Mr. Lenworth Harris, the former General Manager of the Development Bank of St. Kitts and Nevis, has filed a lawsuit against the bank alleging wrongful dismissal. This legal action seeks hundreds of thousands of dollars in compensation for his termination. As your Prime Minister and Minister of Finance, I assure you that the bank is treating this matter with the utmost seriousness. The Development Bank plays a crucial role in our nation's economic development, and any legal dispute involving its former general manager is a matter of public concern. I want to emphasize that the government is fully committed to upholding the principles of transparency, accountability, and the rule of law in this situation as in all situations. In my capacity as the Minister of Finance, I guarantee you that the Development Bank will vigorously defend itself against Mr. Harris's claims. The bank has also counterclaimed to recover the large sums of money missing from the bank's accounts and lost due to practices that were in breach of the Development Bank Act. The legal proceedings that will follow, the legal proceedings that will unfold in the coming weeks are aimed at addressing the various matters involving the gross mismanagement of the Development Bank that have come to light recently, Madam Deputy Speaker. The government is steadfast in its commitment to recovering every penny lost and taken from the Development Bank. The truth behind the financial irregularities will be fully ventilated in the High Court, and we will pursue all available legal avenues to hold those responsible accountable for their actions, Madam Deputy Speaker. It is disheartening to see the misuse of public resources and the breach of trust that has occurred in this situation. Our focus remains on ensuring that justice is served and the Development Bank is made whole again. The government is resolute in its pursuit of the recovery of the bank's money, the people's money, and we will leave no stone unturned in this process, Madam Deputy Speaker. I understand the concerns and questions that may arise in the minds of our citizens during this challenging time. Rest assured, the government is committed to keeping you informed throughout this legal process. Transparency and accountability are the cornerstones of good governance, and we will not waver in our dedication to these principles. As we embark on this journey, I ask for your patience and trust in the judicial system. We are confident that in the end, truth and fairness will prevail. Together, as a resilient nation, we will weather this storm within our Development Bank. We will emerge stronger and safeguard the interests of our federation and our people's hard-earned money. And in closing, Madam Deputy Speaker, I extend my gratitude to you, the people of St. Kitts and Nevis, for your unwavering support. Together, we will secure justice and uphold the values that define our beloved nation. May God bless you all, and may justice be served as always. Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. That's the end of my minister's statement.